The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program's participants and do not necessarily reflect those of station staff, management, and advertisers.
All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome on a Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us, PTL family. It's good to see you guys. And obviously, we've had a lot of news over the course of the last 24 hours, really over the course of the last 8 years. But Caroline Leavitt just held a press conference. What a doozer of a presser that was. She went after Caitlin Collins again from CNN. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And the president has a feeling. That's why he went to war. He has a feeling. Again, I talked a little bit about this yesterday. We'll get into that. Pete Hegseth is angry that the media is covering the deaths of American soldiers. We're going to talk about that. And Nancy Mace asking Tim Walz today, what is a man and what is a woman? I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. We do have a few special guests that are going to be joining us tomorrow, by the way. JoJo from Jers, who just did the Piers Morgan show earlier this week. I love JoJo. I think she's one of the best. She's going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. My friend Kyla, who just debated Andrew Wilson for 8 hours, is going to be joining us on the show tomorrow as well. I think Kyla's great. But joining me in studio today, I guess he's kind of great. He's kind of great. I mean, he's not bad. He's not bad. He's kind of great.
Kind of great?
Kind of great.
You got to give him the roses.
All right. Well, roses
this man's great.
Maybe on Valentine's Day. Of course, my friend joining us, Leonard Cardinale, the longtime North Las Vegas cop lieutenant. Leonard, I'm just joking with you. How you doing?
Oh, good. A lot going on today. I don't even know how you decided where to start. There's just so much.
There is a lot, Leonard, and I'm almost speechless because I talked a little bit about this yesterday where Donald Trump spoke yesterday, and he talked about the reasoning as to why they went to war in Iran. And the reasoning or the logic or lack thereof that Donald Trump gave was he had a feeling, right?
Right. There's been actually 6 different explanations, but
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I had a gut feeling is really what we're hearing from Donald Trump. It wasn't our intelligence. It wasn't anything from Israel. He just had a feeling that
not
Iran
even an epiphany, a gut feeling.
It's really unbelievable because he has a gut, so I'm shocked. So Caroline Leavitt was talking about this today. This is literally like 20 minutes ago. And he had a feeling based on fact, she says. Listen to this.
The president had a feeling, again, based on fact, that Iran was going to strike the United States, was going to strike our assets in the region, and he made a determination to launch Operation Epic Fury based on all of those reasons. And
what do you mean he had a feeling based on fact?
Someone is going to have to explain that to me.
Can somebody, what
is
is
this? Feeling based on fact?
Have you ever heard anybody say that before?
Well, a fact is objective,
Alternative
and a feeling
facts?
is subjective.
What is she saying? What are they saying? What does that mean?
She's saying reality. What a concept.
Am I losing my mind here? We're talking about war.
She was particularly aggressive, especially with Caitlin Collins.
We'll get to that in a minute.
But I mean, like, what I mean is by her comment, by saying that, is she was kind of all over the place. You know, she didn't really. And anytime somebody asked a legit question, she just snipped at them.
So the president had a feeling based on fact. It's kind of like the Kellyanne Conway alternative facts. But let's break this down for a moment, shall we? What facts are you referring to? The fact that Israel was allegedly going to attack Iran first, and somehow we had a feeling that, they're going to attack the United States, so we got to go in there. Is that the fact that you're referring to? Or was it the fact that this war was only going to be 2 or 3 days? Or was it the fact 8 months ago that we obliterated their nuclear capabilities? Is it the fact that, we think they furthered their nuclear capabilities? Is it the fact that you've helped Iran in the long run because now you have a younger regime that's going to take over? Is it the fact that you said, Mr. President, that the civilians in Iran are going to take over? By the way, you need boots on the ground to have a new regime.
They're thinking about arming the Kurds now.
What is she talking about? How could she look at the Are people that stupid? Are they that stupid?
Can I ask you a question? Because I've been thinking about it, not to throw off your flow, but I really would like to know what you think. So they killed 48 leaders, including the supreme leader, in the first strikes. Okay. They were meeting in that building for negotiations so they could decide what they were going to agree to with America because we're in the middle of negotiations, and they knew they went into that building to talk, and then they blew up the building. What do you think of that? Is that just I think it's terrible that he set them up that way, but I don't know.
I believe
maybe that's war. I don't know.
Let me be very clear. The President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, is a war criminal. Pete Hegseth is a war criminal. Marco Rubio is a war criminal. And I will always look at them that way. They know that this is an ill-advised war. I am not defending the Iranian
It's a unilateral
government. Let me be
war.
very clear. The Iranian government and all those that are in the government are terrorists. They're murderers. They harbor terrorists. I'm not shedding a tear for anybody in the Iranian government. If
Agreed.
you told me right now that Israel had the opportunity to murder and kill all of these terrorists in the Iranian government, I would say do it. But that doesn't mean that the United States of America should be involved based on a gut feeling self-described by Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump,
And they
and
started a war.
Caroline Leavitt.
It was a unilateral incitement of war. He didn't check with Congress. He didn't talk with them. There was no discussion, and he didn't do what, usually you would go to the American people and you would kind of plead your case. That's what everyone, even George Bush did that.
This is Iraq War 2.0, only worse because they didn't even go to Congress, and obviously
Yep.
Republicans and Democrats.
Everybody was on board with attacking Iraq. They were.
Democrats and Republicans, for the most part, would not vote for this war. You know why? Because Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, and the Department of Defense have not shown any imminent threat. That they keep using the term imminent threat. And by the way, we'll get to this in a little bit, but these right-wing MAGA clowns that keep asking what's a woman and what's a man cannot define what a war is. They can't
They
define
all said,
what a
all the
war is.
Republicans that got interviewed yesterday said, what war? We haven't declared war. Okay, bombing another sovereign nation without approval, that's not starting
What would
a
happen
war?
if somebody did this to us? Would we not define it as war? I want to go to the Caitlin Collins interaction because Pete Hegseth said that the press should not prominently cover deaths of U.S. service members. He said that earlier today, which is beyond despicable. So Caitlin Collins, who I believe is a good reporter for CNN, asks Caroline Leavitt about that, and then Leavitt turns it on CNN and the press. This is remarkable. Listen to this.
Position of this administration that the press should not prominently cover the deaths of U.S. service members?
No, it's the position of this administration that the press in this room and the press across the country should accurately report on the success of Operation Epic Fury and the damage it is doing to the rogue Iranian regime that has threatened the lives of every single American in this room. If the Iranian regime had their choice, they would kill every single person in this room. And so we can all be very grateful that we have an administration and that we have men and women in our armed forces who are willing to sacrifice their own lives for the rest of us in this room and for every American across the country and for every troop that is based in the Middle East. That's what these...
Secretary Hegseth was complaining that it was front page news about these 6 service members who were killed.
That's not what the secretary said, Caitlin, and that's not what the secretary meant. And you know it. You know you are being disingenuous. There is not... We've never had a Secretary of Defense. Who cares
These
more?
drones get through where tragic things happen. It's front page news. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad.
Yeah,
As you know, we cover
press
the
does-
deaths of U.S. service members under every president.
The press does only want to make the president look bad. That's a fact. Especially you. No, listen to me. Especially you and especially CNN. And the Secretary of Defense cares deeply about our war fighters and our men and women in uniform. He travels all across this country to meet with them, to connect with them, and your network has hardly ever probably reported on that. You also had the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Chairman Kane, who's a brave patriot, standing alongside the secretary at the Pentagon this morning, again expressing his condolences to these families. And I just told you that the president of the United States will be attending their dignified transfer. So please,
That's not making the president look bad. That's showcasing that.
we expect you to cover that as you should. We expect you to cover that as you should, Caitlin. But you and your network know that you take every single thing this administration says and tries to use it to make the president look bad. That is an objectable fact.
I don't think covering troop deaths is trying to make.
If you're trying to argue right now that CNN's overwhelming coverage is not negative of President Donald Trump, I think the American people would tend to agree, and your ratings would tend to disagree with that as well.
You sick, fake Christian, bimbo, buffoon. First of all, it's not CNN that's trying to make the president look bad. Look at his poll numbers. Facts are that the president's poll numbers are in the high 30 percentile and 26% among registered.
He's making himself look bad.
That's number one. Number two, the overwhelming majority of Americans in every poll, in every media outlet, are saying they are not for this war. Number three, Pete Hegseth was visibly upset that certain media outlets on the front page, he said, were reporting on the six service
American service
that
members
lost
died.
their lives.
That's what he said.
Okay. He was upset at that. And that was a very poignant question that was asked. And instead, they do what they always do in the Trump administration. They attack CNN. They attack the media. Oh, you just want to make the president look bad. No, you guys do that for yourself. We just report on it. The fact of the matter is that every single soldier, it's funny because I didn't hear Caroline Leavitt complaining when media outlets were talking about the 12 brave soldiers who lost their lives in the Afghan withdrawal. But Caroline Leavitt and the Trump administration still seem to bring that up. They didn't have a problem when that was on the front page, or Fox News, OAN, and Newsmax were covering it every day. That wasn't a problem back then.
That's what Caitlin said. We've covered every president the same way.
Correct. And she's right. But now when soldiers lose their lives tragically, and I would say for no reason other than Trump having a feeling.
There were some mess ups. Maybe we can talk about that later.
But the fact of the matter is that when the media covers these service members who lost their lives, whether it's front page or not, it's a story that needs to be covered, because whether you agree with this war or not, which clearly I don't, we still need to talk about those brave soldiers, as I talked about, and I named all the soldiers who died in the Afghan withdrawal. Oh, yeah, by the way, far more died in Afghanistan under Donald Trump. But yet she doesn't want us talking about brave soldiers that lost their lives.
She said more than that. She said we're doing it on purpose to
Sick.
make them look bad. That's unreality. I think Caroline Leavitt lives in a different reality where she thinks everything is a certain way and CNN is a certain way. And she truly has convinced herself that that's reality, and it's not.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on from Caroline Leavitt, but in closing, I will say this. Caroline, you are a liar. You have no moral compass. You are a fake Christian, and you are a pedophile protector. And your crypt keeper husband should be ashamed of you. Really. I don't know what more, how many blue pills your husband takes or how many times you lie in front of the podium. It's probably very close. Now, from one lying idiot to another one in the Trump administration, Pete Hegseth. I mentioned to you earlier, Leonard, that Hegseth was upset, not visibly upset and angry that we lost service members, but he was upset that the media was covering that story of losing 6 service members
on the front page.
Yeah. And by the way, in the Pentagon, those right-wing mushroom gobblers that are not journalists who ask puffer questions, and he never calls on someone that is fair, that would ask him a question because he's not capable of answering because he's like an actor. It's sick. Here he is complaining about the fake news media, claiming that all we care about are the American service members that were killed.
This is what the fake news misses. We've taken control of Iran's airspace and waterways without boots on the ground. We control their fate. But when a few drones get through or tragic things happen, it's front page news. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad, but try for once to report the reality. The terms of this war will be set by us at every step.
Yeah, well, he has a feeling.
This is what the fake news misses.
Yeah,
we've taken control of Iran's airspace and water.
You give your analysis. Can I just say that's not accurate? They don't control the area. There was a missile shot at Turkey that NATO had to take down, and that was just last night. And the Strait of Hormuz is a mess. They don't control the water there. It's all bottled up, and oil tankers are not able to get through. So they don't control the whole. But go ahead. I just hate when he lies and exaggerates like that.
Well, again, he seems more angry at the way the media is covering the deaths of brave men and women in uniform who lost their lives over them losing their lives. And here's Pete Hegseth, the woman abuser, named by his own mother, by the way, who is bragging about death and destruction And as my friend Ron Filipowski said, he sounds like a bad actor from like the 1980s in a B action movie that went straight to video. Watch this Pete Hegseth fake actor from Skinamax.
Finding and fixing their leaders and their military leaders, flying over Tehran, flying over Iran, flying over their capital, flying over the IRGC.
Breathe.
Iranian leaders looking up and seeing only U.S. and Israeli air power every minute of every day until we decide it's over. And Iran will be able to do nothing about it. B-2s, B-52s, B-1s, Predator drones, fighters, controlling the skies, picking targets, death and destruction from the sky all day long.
Straight to video.
We're playing for keeps.
Oh, sorry.
Our warfighters have maximum authorities granted personally by the president and yours truly. Our rules of engagement are bold, precise, and designed to unleash American power, not shackle it. This was never meant to be a fair fight, and it is not a fair fight.
So there you have Pete Hegseth reading a script as some sort of B or D list actor, and it's amazing to me that the 100% white tattoo man who is a woman abuser is somehow the Secretary of Defense. And every single day I see him, I say to myself, how did this happen? How did this right-wing
He's got
buffoon,
like a Superman complex or something, doesn't he?
how did this buffoon get up there? I mean, listen, say what you want about Rumsfeld and some others that were our Secretary of Defense in that position. We can disagree with policy and say this is a bad person, but this is probably the most underqualified buffoon that's ever been in that position in the history of this country. And it really is insane.
He was a Fox News host.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even an anchor. He had like a commentary on the weekend, and he has no military experience. But can I say something? And I don't know, this is my opinion, not the radio station. There's no way that only 6 people were killed.
Mhm.
There's no way that only 18 were critically
that's not
injured.
just your
I
opinion.
think the number is extremely higher than that. I don't believe for a second what they're saying.
But Leonard, that's not just your opinion and my opinion.
I just want to get anybody in trouble.
That's the opinion of almost anybody that has served, that's in law enforcement, that's been to war. Anybody who knows anything about war have said that the number is absolutely higher than that, and it's going to continue to rise because this war ain't ending anytime soon. But you see, Pete Hegseth and Caroline Leavitt and Donald Trump and probably everybody else in the Trump administration don't want us talking about this.
Can I say
because they are more concerned about making the president, quote, look bad than telling the American people the facts about what's going on in this war. They don't have a plan. They don't know how to evacuate. There are over 6,000 Americans that are still stuck there.
What did they say
trapped.
to him yesterday? Everybody get out. We can't help you. Now they changed that on the website,
Yeah.
but yesterday they said, you're all on your own, run for the hills.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do to help you. But maybe later on during phone calls or something, maybe we
Yeah.
can, something else I wanted to say is I don't believe for a second that friendly fire shot those 3 planes down.
I don't believe that.
If you
either.
want to talk about the F-15s and their
course not.
capabilities,
Of
if
course
you
not.
want to talk about that later, I'll go on the record and say that is not true.
Well,
There's
it's
no
not
way.
true. Yeah.
Those are planes that are impossible to shoot down, and they got shot down by mistake.
Friendly fire took down the Titanic too. I mean, it's so insane, and the lies. But again, closing when it comes to Pete Hegseth, I will say this: there's a reason why his own mother called him a woman abuser. There's a reason why he has a horrible reputation of being a lush and an abuser. There's a reason why Fox News wouldn't even give him a daily show, because he's an incompetent fool who's also a white supremacist who has a tattoo on his body that says 100% white.
Isn't there a questionable tattoo on his arm also?
Yes.
That is like an Antichrist
It
symbol
is.
Or a number that's an
It
Antichrist
is.
symbol. That was online. I don't know if that's
So-
true, but that
Yeah.
was what I
So-
read online.
So in closing to Pete Hegseth, you're an embarrassment to this country. You're a coward. And quite frankly, the only thing that you care about is not making Donald Trump look bad. And I personally do not believe that Pete Hegseth cares one bit about our brave men and women in uniform that are continuing to lose their lives fighting an ill-advised war.
We'll say
Now-
a prayer for them.
Now, there are a lot of MAGA Republicans on the right that can't even define what a war is. I'm going to start with Brian Mast, who is a Trump mushroom gobbling buffoon, who now claims that we've been in a war with Iran for decades. I'm not making this up. Have a listen to this.
Desperate.
An imminent response until President Trump. What did they face instead? They faced negotiations that told them how much uranium they could enrich.
So
that's true.
Right there, Brian Mast has said at the start of that comment that they have always been an imminent threat. Do these people know what imminent means?
Imminent means like right now, and if you don't do, because that's a police terminology also.
But Leonard,
when used deadly force, it
Leonard,
means right now, no way to get out of it.
This is the same type of language these warmongering fools said about Iraq. We were told that Saddam Hussein posed an imminent threat, not just to the world, but to the United States of America. Now, they used the excuse, which was obviously a lie. It wasn't faulty intelligence, that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. We were told 8 months ago that Iran, we obliviated their nuclear capabilities. That's what we were told, even though Tulsi Gabbard 10 months ago said that there was no evidence that they had furthered their nuclear capabilities. Are we led to believe that in the last 6 or 7 months, somehow, some way, they were more of a threat now?
If they obliterated their capabilities, then why is there's an imminent threat? That makes no sense. And by the way, let me just say, what was wrong with the JCPOA that Obama created with them? They had inspectors going in there. They were looking at the uranium, making sure it didn't get enriched at weapons grade. And he didn't give them money. And let me just correct the record because it bothers me. Trump said that we were giving them pallets of money, which we were, but we were giving them their own money.
Yeah.
We were taking off sanctions and giving money that we owed them that we held back because they agreed to have inspectors come in once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very honest about it. And Trump is the one who canceled the JCPOA.
That's also true. And again, to me, this is Iraq 2.0 all over again. So Manu Raju, who I believe is another really good reporter for CNN, and he had the opportunity to have an interaction and a question for Mikey Johnson earlier today. And this, I want you to listen to this exchange because Johnson said earlier in the week that the U.S. acted after Israel was determined to act in their own defense. And now they seem to be changing the conversation and changing the narrative because they don't know what's the next excuse to use other than Donald Trump had a gut feeling. Have a listen to this interaction right here.
Said yesterday that it was him. It was the United States that might have forced Israel's hand. So why are you and the president not on the same page?
We're on the same page. I'm not at liberty to say publicly much of the classified information that I get in all these briefings, and that's always the delicate part of this, because if we say too much, then it reveals methods and sources, and it eliminates the ability of our extraordinary military and intelligence community to do what they do. The president has explained his analysis and his thought. Obviously, Israel is a close ally. They're in close communication. But everything I've said and everything he said is all true. They're not inconsistent in any way. Israel saw Iran as an existential threat. We should have seen them as well. But they were they were literally a neighbor. So if Iran said publicly, they all told us why. Okay, if they had the ability, they would wipe Israel off the face of the earth. That is why they were trying to enrich uranium. And even though we took out the nuclear facilities several months ago, they were still working on their nuclear ambition, even through the negotiations, as I said. And
so it's very clear from the get-go. It's very, very clear that they're not on the same page. In the last week or so, or less than a week, we've heard multiple different narratives as to why we started a war with Iran.
At least six that I can think of.
One of them is we have we on a gut feeling. They didn't even say we have information. Trump said gut feeling that Iran was going to attack us. They've shown absolutely No evidence. Number two, Marco Rubio, the statements he made the other day. He said, well, Israel, he didn't say Israel forced our hand, but in so many words he did. He said Israel was we knew that Israel was going to attack Iran. I believe him when he said that. And we feel like they would have
shot
attacked
the first bombs, did they not?
They would
Israel?
have. My understanding is that the United States did, but regardless of that, going back to what I just said, Marco Rubio said the other day that we knew that Israel was going to attack Iran, and we were afraid that they were going to attack us because of it. Again, no intelligence, nothing. You would think if that there was any smoke and gun evidence to the American people that they would have told us by now, right? Well, here's what we knew. We knew that they were doing this. We knew that they were planning this. Nothing from the White House other than a gut feeling. Okay.
If they had evidence, why would they hold it back?
Exactly.
That's really,
that's my point.
Yeah.
We've also heard the narrative and about their nuclear capabilities. They just told us 8 months ago that we obliterated their nuclear capabilities.
Obliterated.
Yeah, obliviated, whatever the words they use. And it's like, well, which is it? Where's Tulsi Gabbard on this? Have you seen her make any public statements this week? Where is she on this when she testified under oath 10 months ago that they had no reason to believe that they had furthered any nuclear capabilities?
She has all the secret information. Tulsi Gabbard, that is her job to know what is going on informationally behind the scenes.
Yeah. Now imagine if you're a family member of one of those brave men and women in uniform that apparently Pete Hegseth doesn't want us talking about, and you heard Mike Johnson say this, claiming it's a no-win situation for America. Listen to this.
The moment of opportunity, they had to act in their own survival. And we knew and understood, and this has been explained by the Secretary of State, the President, myself, and everybody else, the unclassified part is that if this kinetic activity began, then Iran was determined to hit us, our personnel, our assets, and all that. If the commander-in-chief and his administration and our officials waited for all those casualties to be exacted, they would have been drug up here and put through an inquest like you've never seen before, because the Democrats would have had a field day and said, if you had all that exquisite intelligence, why didn't you protect us? So it's a no-win situation for them. That's what the president and everyone has tried to explain. There are different ways to explain it. It's all the same truth. None of that has changed. It's entirely consistent. Last one. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's a no-win situation. I hear a lot from Mike Johnson. I hear a lot from Mike Johnson, and I hear a lot from Donald Trump and Caroline Leavitt. They use if and gut feeling. Those are not the words that you want our leaders to use when we put our troops in harm's way. Fair enough?
This is what we knew. This is when we knew it. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
And we want it backed up with facts. That's exactly what we want.
Leonard, I'm telling you right now, and I think you'll agree with me on this, this is only going to get worse. This situation is only going to get worse. Sadly, I wish I was wrong, as you've alluded to.
It's a mess.
There's going to be more soldiers that are going to be losing their lives. This is going to cost us trillions of dollars getting involved in this war. Innocent people on both sides. There's going to be soldiers, our soldiers, that are going to die. There's going to be innocent Israeli civilians. There's going to be innocent people in Iran. Thousands of people in Iran have already died.
Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely.
They bombed them all.
And then
they even bombed Oman.
And we had this right-wing adjudicated sexually abusing felon who just told us, and he's been for the last 8-9 months, that there's peace in the Middle East. And then we hear all the time, anytime something goes wrong, anytime anything went wrong in the Biden administration, wouldn't have happened if I was president. I think Democrats need to start saying this wouldn't have happened if Kamala Harris won. It wouldn't have. I'm not saying everything in this country would be perfect, but here's what I am saying. We would not be at war with Iran. We wouldn't be coddling Benjamin Netanyahu. We wouldn't be rolling out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin. We wouldn't have $175 billion of theft from the American people when it comes to these stupid tariffs. We wouldn't be the laughing stock of the world. I'm not saying Kamala and Tim Walz are perfect, but these things, I guarantee you, 100% would not have happened if she had won the presidency. The reason why we're in the situation we're in now is because Donald Trump is an imbecile. He's an imbecile. He's a narcissist. He listens to everything that Benjamin Netanyahu tells him to do. He's a moron. And there's a reason why Benjamin Netanyahu tried to get Obama to fight Iran. There's a reason why Benjamin Netanyahu tried to get Joe Biden to fight Iran, because they wouldn't give in. And this benefits Israeli government. I'm not even sure it benefits Israel, but it certainly benefits.
They won't show Tel Aviv.
It certainly benefits Benjamin Netanyahu because he wants to remain in office. That's why, because he's a dictator.
How come
just like Donald Trump?
How come none of the news stations are showing Tel Aviv? I watch every day, and I want to see how badly it was destroyed. I want to see how badly it was hit. They will not show Israel. They'll show you every other place that's been hit on the except for Israel. And I think because Netanyahu doesn't want his people to know that they got hit pretty badly.
I haven't even gotten started with Nancy Mace yet.
Oh, she's a tool
in Washington. Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. So they had some more stuff going on in DC today. And no, it wasn't Hillary Clinton being asked about Pizzagate.
She embarrassed Nancy Mace. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But Nancy Mace had the opportunity to speak to Tim Walz today. Tim Walz under oath in testimony. Now, we heard that they wanted to talk to Tim Walz about fraud. But here's a clip that I want to play for you. And it goes to show you while these imbeciles on the right, and that's what they are, they're not serious people. These imbeciles on the right always want to ask people like us, what's a man and what's a woman, when they can't even define what a war is. This is the opportunity, and this is how Nancy Mace started questioning Tim Walz. It is embarrassing. Listen to this.
Let's go to Governor Walz, and I hope you learned some lessons from your last hearing with me on the Oversight Committee. Have you learned anything?
I did, that if I didn't speak up, 2 of my people would be dead, Congresswoman. And I warned you.
Okay, Miss Governor Walz, what is a woman? Have you learned that lesson? Do you know what a woman is?
I'm the governor of Minnesota, Congresswoman.
You know what a
I'm not
woman
here
is.
to be your prop for your obsession.
So
I
if you
taught middle
can't
school your
define what a
obsession.
woman is, you certainly can't define what fraud is. If you can't even define what a woman is, you can't define fraud.
What? Okay, so first of all, they can't define what a war is. Second of all,
it's an irrelevant question.
I have some pretty good sources, allegedly, and I've tweeted this out, that Nancy Mace's husband left her for a transgender woman. I don't know that for fact,
that's a reason
but
to
I've
be
heard
angry.
some pretty good sources on that. So maybe you should ask your ex-husband what a woman and what a man is. It's like, it's so stupid, these people. And you bring the governor of Minnesota in there. You think if they really cared about fraud, they'd be asking stupid questions like that?
She's trying to get clicks and attention. That's all. It was irrelevant to the whole. It was irrelevant across the board. It had nothing to do with. And besides, what did she want to do? Debate over what a woman is?
Yeah. And here's Nancy Mace again trying to attack Tim Walz about the healthiness of people in South Carolina. And I like how Tim Walz fits back here. Have a listen to this.
Again, I'm not here to be your prop. Go ahead and tell us.
Is doing Minnesota math a prop? This is math. We're talking about fraud.
Minnesota ranks at the top. Where does South Carolina rank?
We're talking about money.
Where does South Carolina children rank on healthiness?
These are my questions for you. It doesn't go the other way around unless we're debating on the debate stage. And we're not.
If you're asking questions about being governor, it does.
I'm asking you
When you're
questions
governor,
about
you can
being
come and
governor
tell
of
me.
Minnesota, which you can't answer. This is basic math. And you can't even answer.
not
Do you
here to
even
be your
care
prop.
about kids in Minnesota?
They rank near
Do
the
you
top
care?
in every category. My children are
Do you
fed. My
care
children
about
are housed.
autistic
My children
children
have
getting
health
the
care.
services they need in
My
Minnesota?
children have the best
Clearly
schools.
you don't. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Yeah. Yield back, you buffoon. First of all, she's talking about the healthiness of children. Tim Walz, as you know, is the governor of Minnesota, and he's accurate when he says in his state, not just in a city like Minneapolis, in his state, children rank as some of the healthiest in the country. Meanwhile, she brings up South Carolina, and notice how she didn't want to answer that question. I mean, if she had asked me what's a woman and what's a man, I would say, I don't think you're a woman or a man. I think you're an alien. I think you're a buffoon. That's the way I would respond to her.
Tim Walz spent his life trying to take care of children, make them healthy, teach them in school, teach them calisthenics and gymnastics and keep them healthy. And he spent his whole life helping teenagers and children, and she has no business asking him that question.
Listen, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't believe Nancy Mace when she says anything. She's filed multiple civil suits against exes in her life. They've all said they've all said that they have not abused her in any way, shape, or form. They've denied it. There have been no charges filed. She hasn't won any civil suits or anything. And she keeps saying that she's been the victim of abuse. And let me be very clear on this. 99.9% of the time, I believe a victim when they say they're the victim. This is that 0.1% that I do not believe Nancy Mace. Every single time she does an interview, even when she has this line of questioning, she talks about how she was the victim. She's the victim. She's the victim. I don't believe anything Nancy Mace says. I think she makes up stories about her being the victim. By the way, again, let me repeat myself one more time because facts do matter. Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser proven in a court of law. Nancy Mace voted for him. She claims that she has been the victim of abuse, where again, all the accusers have not only denied it, but she's never won in a courtroom. But yet she supports Donald Trump. Now I'm going to give Nancy Mace a little grace here. A little piece of pie here. Because here's Nancy, and I do have some criticism about this statement, but I do
Don't
agree.
ever leave me or I'll sue you. No, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
seriously.
Go ahead.
Nancy Mace does say she wants to subpoena Pam Bondi. So I can't disagree with this statement. Have a listen to this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the committee issue a subpoena to the Honorable Pamela Jo Bondi to appear before the committee for a deposition regarding the department's handling of the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein and his associates and compliance with the Epstein Files Transparency Act.
A motion has been made. The committee will hold this motion in abeyance until the end of today's hearing. The committee will now proceed with today's hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the committee issue a subpoena to the Office of Congressional Workplace Rights for the awards and settlements paid pursuant to Section 415 of the Congressional Accountability Act prior to December 12, 2018, with only redactions allowable for the personally identifiable information of victims, alleged victims, and witnesses. Thank you, ma'am.
A motion has been made. The committee will hold this motion in abeyance until the end of today's.
Okay, great.
Why are they holding it in abeyance?
So great. I think that's wonderful. Here's my problem. You've already subpoenaed Hillary Clinton. That went really well for you. Never even met Jeffrey Epstein. You've already subpoenaed Bill Clinton. But yet, the guy who's named more in the Epstein files than Jesus Christ is named in the Bible. Notice how she doesn't want to subpoena him. He's called Donald J. Trump. So she doesn't want to question Donald Trump, who's named in the Epstein files. I've heard thousands, tens of thousands of times. I think it's great that she wants to subpoena Pam Bondi. Great. I applaud that. Wonderful. But why are you not bringing up Donald Trump's name? Do you know how? Notice how Nancy Mace doesn't want to do that. She'll talk about, oh, she's the victim. Let's subpoena Pam Bondi.
Well,
what about the guy
come.
who's in there thousands of times? Don't you think you might want to subpoena him too?
What about Nutlick? He's going to come and talk to them.
The guy who
Harry
lied
Nutlick.
about being on Epstein Island. He said he wasn't on Epstein Island. Then when the files came out and it showed he was, he said he was there with his children and his wife. Then we have these photos that came out. No sense of his children or his wife being there. He's just there with Epstein and several other unidentified people. That's the guy who should be subpoenaed as well, along with Donald Trump and everybody else that they are trying to protect. So, Nancy Mace, I'm glad you want to subpoena. I'm glad you want to subpoena Pam Bondi. That's great. It's a good start. What about Donald Trump? That's the question I would ask her. And every single time this nitwit, this dumb bimbo nitwit, talks about how she was allegedly the victim of abuse, I ask her, then why would you vote for a guy who's a liable sexual abuser? Can you define what a woman or a man is? You dumb bimbo. Moving on. So I don't know if you're aware of this, Leonard, but we obviously you and I have talked a lot about the shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. And we both agree that it was probably murder in both instances, right? We agree on that. And I think most of America does. That's not bias, right? And there's a lot of Republicans out there that are troubled by what they saw on video. We also know that, if you recall, Kristi Noem calling Renee Good a domestic terrorist literally like an hour or two after the shooting and after the Alex Preddy
both of them
shooting.
both victims.
And correct. And then Stephen Miller called him an assassin. Obviously, that wasn't true. And we knew that when we saw it. We're like, why would you call these people domestic terrorists? First of all, they don't have any criminal records. Second of all, we all saw what happened. So we know that. So let me start with Jamie Raskin, who I thought did a really good job in questioning Kristi Noem. I want you to listen to this back and forth, which goes to show everything against what some of these ICE officers are doing. Have a listen to this.
Is it lawful for federal agents to shoot and kill a person just because that person is lawfully carrying a holstered firearm under the Second Amendment in state law?
No.
And finally, yes or no, is it lawful for federal agents to shoot an innocent person or even a criminal suspect just for driving away from them, according to the Supreme Court?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you got the law right, and I hope you would rethink what you said about two good, honest, faithful American citizens and what that means to their families when you say that as Secretary of Homeland Security. And your ICE guy has already retracted that, and you should retract it too. I yield back to you, Mr.
All right, so we're going to get into this.
He got her to answer.
Yeah, we're going to get into this. But what he was referring to as we just mentioned, is Kristi Noem calling them domestic terrorists. So I wanted to play that cut for you, and then I want to get your thoughts on it. And
she wouldn't answer.
This is very similar to Pam Bondi, what I'm about to play for you, where Pam Bondi wouldn't apologize to the Epstein victims and wouldn't take any responsibility at all. This is another example of Kristi Noem with no moral compass, not capable of apologizing hours after these people were brutally, in my opinion, murdered in the streets. This is the interaction with Jamie Raskin, where all he's really asking for is for Kristi Noem to say, yeah, I'm sorry, I got it wrong.
Wasn't it on behalf of the parents too? Did you say he spoke to the parents?
Yeah, and I'm going to play that clip for you right now. And this is the clip that I think is most troubling, is that there's nobody in the Trump administration that literally can take accountability to anything. Listen to this exchange.
Based on what you know today, Madam Secretary, were Renee Good and Alex Preddy domestic terrorists?
Congressman, what happened in Minnesota in those two incidents was an absolute tragedy.
Were they domestic terrorists, as you said to the country?
My condolences to their families, because I know that their lives will never be the same after that happened.
Is that an apology for what you said?
We, in those incidents, offer as much information as we can from officers and agents on the ground in a chaotic scene that gets.
I'll repeat my question, reclaiming my time. Based on what you know today, Madam Secretary, based on what you know today, were Renee Good and Alex Preddy domestic terrorists?
As you know, there's ongoing investigations that are being led by the FBI.
But you didn't wait for the investigation, did you? You didn't wait for the evidence. You proclaimed that they were domestic terrorists at the time. Why did you do that?
And you didn't wait to attack our law enforcement.
Why did you do that?
We're going into a dangerous situation.
Why did you call them domestic terrorists?
Because our ICE officers and our HSI officers that day risked their lives to protect that scene. So evidence could be reclaimed. So it could be used in the investigation. Because those violent rioters that
So you're proud of the fact that you called them domestic terrorists? Is that what you're telling America?
HSI officers put their lives on the line to protect that scene, so evidence so we could have.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But you told a lie about them. You said that they were domestic terrorists. Do you regret that?
I offer my condolences to those family. And again,
based on what you know today, were Renee Good and Alex Preddy domestic terrorists?
There's ongoing investigations, and so
So you still don't know. You think that's an open question?
I would think you would want there to still be investigations going into these situations.
Well, you stated the conclusion 2 hours after they were killed that they were domestic terrorists. I wanted to give you an opportunity to correct the record, not just for their family, but for everybody in America who believes in the truth and fairness and honesty.
In every situation, as facts come out, we relay.
You know, your acting ICE director, Todd Lyons, came before Congress. He said he had no knowledge whatsoever that Alex Preddy and Renee Good were domestic terrorists. None. This is your guy. He said that. He admitted that that was wrong. Why won't you admit it?
I'll tell you the investigation is still ongoing, and we'll.
So do you regret speaking before the investigation?
I would say that in those situations,
you regret that?
Chaotic scene on the ground, we relay information to the American people that they're asking for. And as the things change, situations change.
People were asking you whether they were domestic terrorists? And you decided that they were before the investigation?
As we learn more, we.
You don't want to say anything to their families?
I did. I said I condolences.
For what? How about an
hurt.
apology for what you said about their loved ones?
My heart is with them, and we will continue to stand with them as they get a complete investigation into these situations.
All right. Well,
your heart is with them. Is anybody believe her?
She couldn't say. She don't have a heart.
Why would it be so hard, Leonard, to say, I was wrong? I got some bad information, and I should have cooperated with people on the ground better.
I could have handled that better. What's wrong with saying that?
If you
I've said it a million times in my life.
Because it's showing that you're a human being that can make mistakes. Now, listen, I don't think Kristi Noem is much of a human being at all. I think she's a cosplay puppy killing idiot. But
she kills dogs.
Yeah, but and by the way, Tillis just absolutely destroyed her yesterday on that. I mean, I could play that for you, but it's like there's probably more important things to talk about. But he just absolutely destroyed her. Again, that goes to show you that it's more than just incompetence. It's one thing if you're an incompetent person running DHS, that's dangerous enough. It's another thing when you have no moral compass and you can't admit you've ever made a mistake here.
I think she's just mean-spirited and she has no integrity and she doesn't care about morality. She'll say whatever she has to say and she won't admit. All she had to do with Brian was say, you know what? I kind of jumped the gun, but the investigation is ongoing. I could have handled that better. I could have waited. And you know what? And everybody would drop it instead of making a big deal about it. But she feels like she was right in doing that because she had the power. And I think calling them domestic terrorists is a huge mistake. It hurt the parents. Even the family said, you hurt us when you said that about our children. Can you just take it back? Because they're not domestic terrorists. And it literally broke the heart of their entire family. And all she had to do was say, yeah, I may have jumped the gun a little bit, but she couldn't even say that. Terrible person. Terrible.
Yeah. Like many people in the Trump administration.
No ethics.
Completely agree with you. So this is the point of the show, of course, where we do want to take some phone calls at 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. We are talking about multiple topics.
Maybe the tough guys will call in.
Yeah, they
the
usually,
tough guys in the room that like to insult women.
Yeah, there are some that do that, unfortunately. Yeah. So there are multiple topics that we are talking about today, if you're just joining us. The first topic, of course, is Caroline Leavitt reiterating what Donald Trump said yesterday is his position. And the position of the administration of why we went to war with Iran was basically a gut feeling. He had a feeling. We had a feeling. He
started an international war with a country because he had a gut feeling. That makes no sense.
Yeah. So that's the latest from the Trump administration and their reasoning as to why we went to war in Iran.
What I meant to say earlier was that Iran was agreeing to their terms. Trump said, we told them they can't have nuclear weapons. They said, okay. He said, you can't have enriched uranium. They said, you know what? We'll take what we have and we'll give it to another country and they can hold on to it and you can monitor. They were pretty much agreeing. The only thing they wouldn't agree to was to allow them to occupy their land and come in and run their government, which no one would agree to anyway. And what people need to understand is that Iran was negotiating. They were working with them. And it's a terrible injustice.
It is.
And I'm not saying what they did to Iran deserved what they got.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is when you're negotiating, you should have some kind of decorum. You should negotiate it out before you just bomb somebody.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So let me start this up again. There are multiple topics that we are discussing today before we take the phone calls at 702-221-7283. The first topic, which I just mentioned, of course, is the new excuse from the Trump administration as to why we went to war is a gut feeling that apparently Donald Trump had. He just had a feeling. And then when she says based on fact, they don't give any facts. They just say multiple different things, that Israel was going to attack Iran and they were afraid that Iran was going to attack us.
And they were going to have nukes in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that they've made claims about their nuclear capabilities.
He said 2 weeks. That's what Trump said.
With no evidence to back that up at all. This has been 30 plus years where we've heard the same thing from the Israeli government. They've talked about that. And then Marco Rubio yesterday basically making a claim that Israel forced our hand. So there's a lot of multiple excuses. We're obviously covering that. We're also covering Kristi Noem on Capitol Hill being embarrassed earlier today. Also, Tim Walt's question by Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace's first question was, can you define what a woman is? Just absolutely, these are unserious people. We had
that's a good word.
Unserious people. They're not. They shouldn't be
there to accomplish
They shouldn't
anything.
be lawmakers.
Right.
They can't even. They couldn't even be a crossing guard. They're just unserious people, and a sad state of affairs that we are living in right now. But we are taking your phone calls. The number to call 702-221-7283, and again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, whether you're a Trump supporter or not. Do you buy it, and do you think it's a good reason to go to war in Iran because of Donald Trump's quote unquote gut feeling? 702-221-7283. Let's start off with Tony. Tony is first up on PTO. Hello, Tony.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, I'm
Love
doing
this
good.
Show.
Thank you.
I'm a veteran.
Thank you,
of the
sir.
Persian Gulf War.
Thank you for your
we were the
service.
first boots on the ground over there.
Yeah.
And I'm ashamed, Brian.
Mm.
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of how we're doing everything.
How would you have dealt with this, Tony? How would you have dealt with this? Like if you were told to go to Iran, and as I say before, and I say again, thank you. You're a hero.
Brian, I wouldn't have a choice, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the problem.
How do you
They
deal
don't
with
have
that?
a choice.
Can I ask you another question? And again, thank you for your service. You're a hero. It's important. Like, how do you deal with that? Like, if you're obviously a brave man, you're willing to risk your life for this country. You have done that. You've shown that. How do you go overseas or go to Iran? Because you know there's a lot of people just like you that are, if they're told they have to do it, knowing that they shouldn't be there. Like, how do you deal with that mentally?
It's part of our training, Brian. We're told what to do, and we do. That's it. It's plain and simple. That's all we do. We're trained to kill. That's all we do. That's all we know how to do. And if we're told to go somewhere, That's what we do.
Are you buying? Are you buying the fact that these soldiers, these brave men and women that we have lost thus far, it was friendly fire? Are you buying that explanation?
Oh no.
Tony, this
No,
is
not
Leonard.
at
Can
all.
I ask you a question? Can I ask him a question about that? So these
Of
are
course, hit me.
these are jets that are almost impossible to shoot down, and they were still in Iranian airspace, about to cross into Kuwait supposedly, and they're impossible to shoot down. And the Kuwaitis are saying they shot these military jets down by accident. Like you couldn't even shoot one down if you wanted to, and then they're saying they shot 3 of them down by accident.
You would have to know where they are at that moment. You would have to know where they are. And what does that tell you, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Hegseth is at it again with the chats.
Yep. So I agree, and I'm wondering. I want to ask you another question, Tony. We have a caller on the line who served, was in the Gulf War, which I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. What do you make of Pete Hegseth earlier today? That seems to be angry at the media. That's what I got from it. He's frustrated and angry because the media is covering soldiers that have lost their lives. I mean, you heard that earlier today.
He's saying that they're doing it to make him look bad.
What do you make of that?
I saw that. He is just a disgrace to the uniform. That man should have never worn a uniform, Brian. In my opinion, and I was doing it. I was doing it before he was even out of high school.
Yeah.
I joined in '88. He probably wasn't even in high school yet. It's a disgrace, Brian. He almost makes me want. I'm getting choked up as we're talking right now, bro.
And you should.
And listen, Tony, I'm with you. And when I saw the faces, putting a face to a name of some of the soldiers that lost their lives, it's so horrible. It's so tragic. And by the way, we have a lot of family members who have people serving. We had a woman who called in yesterday whose son, I believe, is in Japan right now. He's a Marine, and he's trapped there. He can't even come home.
And she's scared.
I just can't imagine. And let's not even forget about all the soldiers that have been injured, seriously injured, that are fighting for their lives right now. But the Trump administration doesn't want to talk about that either. And the thing that, go ahead.
The thing with this, Brian, is that they're told to go and not say nothing. They can't say nothing about nothing. They probably didn't even. We didn't actually know when we deployed. We didn't actually know where we were going. They just said we're going overseas.
Can I ask him another
question? And then we end up in Germany, and then we end up in the Persian Gulf.
Tony, this is Leonard again. Can I ask you another question?
Scared, man.
Can I ask you another question? Isn't it a fact that during Desert Storm in 1991, that planes were shot down? However, not one of them was shot down accidentally. Isn't that true?
Yes, sir.
And people who don't believe me can look it up on the internet. Not one plane shot down accidentally. So what does that tell you? When 3 planes were shot down. And by the way, Pete Hegseth said they control the sky. Iran has no planes in the air. So what were the Kuwaitis shooting at if there's no planes in the air?
That's a good point.
What are they shooting at if there was no Iranian planes in the air?
That's a very valid point. And
I don't believe it for a second.
And Tony, I struggle to try to understand one logical reason why we are in Iran right now. And let me ask you a question. They claim they want regime change, right? First, Trump talks about how the civilians there need to rise up. I don't even know what that means because they're not running the government.
And they have no guns.
So let's talk about regime change. How could you have regime change if you don't put boots on the ground? Explain that to me, Tony.
It's impossible, Brian. You have to, in order to effectively do a regime change, there's no way you could do it without boots.
Now they're saying they're going to arm the Kurds to help them out. And if they arm the Kurds, huge mistake. That is a huge mistake, in my opinion.
I think there's eventually going to be boots on the ground. The casualties are going to be so excessive. And Tony, listen, man, brother, I appreciate you. People like you.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
Because of people.
I appreciate your guys' show, guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. And like I said, I'm all choked up right now, man.
Well, Tony, you're a hero. You're a hero, and I'm able to talk on the radio every day because of people like you. And let me tell you something, I don't forget that. I think about that every day. I think about people like you. I think about our brave men and women in uniform that are out there in Iran right now risking their lives. You guys are heroes. And
those guys that are overseas right now, Brian,
yeah,
they are scared as hell.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
And what are they fighting for? What are they really fighting for?
That's what's so sad.
Why are they there risking their lives?
That's the thing, guys. They don't know. They don't know. They said we were fighting for oil. Man, if you believe that, I've got I've got a trash can I can sell you right now.
And
full of
Tony,
shirts.
here's what's most unfortunate about this whole situation is that the guy that has the power that is leading the way, for lack of a better term, is a draft dodging coward named Donald J. Trump.
The worst person to ever take in air. I'm telling you this. I want
Ever
everybody
taken
to
air.
hear me. He's the worst person to ever breathe.
Yeah, he's a horrific human being. Tony, I'm with you, brother. You're a hero, and I do appreciate
Thanks
you. Thank
again,
you,
Tony.
Thank you, Tony, for the phone call. I am honored that we have people like that listen to the show every day. I am honored.
Sounds like a good guy.
702-221-7283 is the number to call. By the way, if you're just joining us, we are listening to 107.1 FM and 1400 AM KSHP. We appreciate you guys being here. The phone lines are full, so we're just going to take a few more calls here. Let's go to Kenny. Kenny is next up on PTL. What's up, Kenny? Hi, Kenny. Go right ahead. Kenny, are you there?
Kenny?
Yes, go right ahead, sir.
You're still talking. Hold on. I got to turn you
Lower,
off.
lower your radio a little bit.
There's a little bit of a delay.
Trying to.
That's okay. That's fine. It's okay. Did he just hang up the phone? He just hung up. Okay. Well, thank you, Kenny, for the phone call. We appreciate that.
Maybe I shouldn't have been humorous.
702-221-7283.
Sometimes I get carried away.
Let's go to Andy. Kenny, you can go ahead and call back, by the way. Andy, what's going on?
Yeah, I just got a quick question. I'm going to go off the rail on one question, but do you think any of these idiots are going to be in orange jumpsuits here in a few more years? And this has to stop.
Yeah.
This has to stop. These guys are a bunch of freaking idiots.
So Andy, to answer your question, very, very difficult. Example, you could have made the case back to the Iraq War under the George W. Bush days that they were lying about these weapons of mass destruction. We never had a full-on really investigation into it. There was a commission. Very, very difficult. Let me answer this by saying this. I think it's a better chance that Donald Trump maybe one day gets behind bars because of Jack Smith.
And they're going to pardon everybody.
Yeah.
They're going to pardon people, but that doesn't relieve them of a civil. If you want to sue them because they had your let's say your family members killed in another country or killed in Minneapolis, if you want to sue them civilly for millions of dollars, I don't think anything can stop that.
Yeah,
and that may not be a pound of flesh, but as far as doing time,
very difficult.
I don't know.
So very, very difficult is the answer that I would give.
So anyway, two more questions. I'm just wondering why these maggots who are keyboard warriors aren't calling in and sticking up for this.
They're scared. They're afraid. I invited them to call in. I told them I'll be nice. They're afraid to call in.
Well,
they go in the room and they talk trash to people who are very nice people who are not there to try to argue. They're there to try to listen.
Here's the way I will respond. I go on right-wing shows all the time. You know, Tim Pool being one of them, and I'll debate anybody. I was supposed to do Pierce Morgan today. I'm doing it on Monday. And they give me some of the biggest talking heads around. I've debated Michael Knowles, Jack Posobiec, Roger Stone, Clay Travis. I've debated them all, really, except Sean Hannity. But I'll say this.
I don't want to interrupt, but I did see that video that you just trashed Benny Hill. That dude's a freaking joke.
Oh, yeah. Benny Johnson's an idiot. Yeah, I called him
Benny Johnson. He's another.
Yeah, they love him. They love him because he'll say anything.
Another thing.
Yeah.
Another thing, too. So this is off the rails. Remember you had Paul Bonner on last
Yeah,
week?
that didn't go very well for him. It didn't go very well for him on my show last week.
He got his ass kicked. All right, you guys.
Thank you, sir. You too, my friend. I appreciate you. Yeah, it didn't go very well for Paul Bonder on my show last week. By the way, those videos went viral. Millions of views. I don't think it helped Paul's campaign. I don't think he's going to come back. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. I'll go back to Kenny because I think we lost him earlier. Hello, Kenny.
Hi, Brian.
Hey.
Hi, Leonard.
Hi, Kenny.
Hi, Leonard. I love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying that.
I had an issue. I couldn't turn my radio.
No, you're good.
I'm on the phone.
You're good. What's on your mind, Kenny?
I'm very appalled by Hegseth today calling fake news for 6 servicemen that lost their lives.
Yeah.
It's appalling to me.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. He should be proud. And he should be honoring their name the same way the news did. And so what if it's front page news, Brian? Who cares if it made the front page? Servicemen were killed.
It make front page news. I grew up during the Vietnam War.
Mm.
I had there was people that I grew up with that died over there.
Yeah.
And
it should make front page news. It's appalling.
Whenever we lose a service member, yeah, exactly. Here's the thing, right, Kenny? It seems to me, and you guys could tell me whether you agree or not, that Pete Hegseth is more upset at something that might make Donald Trump, quote, look bad than our service members that are losing their lives. It seems to me he's more upset.
Reality show Pete.
Yeah, I mean, it's like these people are just sick. That's why we call it a
it's
cult.
just a game to him.
It's a cult.
Donald Trump was a coward.
Yeah,
when it
still
came
is.
to fighting for
Still
our
is.
country.
Still is a coward. He comes from a family of cowards.
Well, he talks tough from a bunker in America.
Yeah,
I can tell you that much.
Uday and Kusei, also known as Eric and Don
Cain and
Jr.
Abel.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
He comes from a family of cowards. That's what they are. And we need to call it out every single day. And guess what? Anytime a service member loses their life, I'm going to do everything I can to cover it and talk about it. And if I can get any of their family members on in a month or two from now, not for political purposes, I would not to score political points, to talk about their loved ones that
I
they
would love
lost
to debate
and
Don
the
Jr.
heroes that they are.
No, exactly. Those 6 service members, that's all we know about. There's probably a hell of a lot more than that.
You're probably right, sir. You're probably right. But yet he wants to give medals to people like Rush Limbaugh. He wants to give medals to those kinds of people. It's sick. And he always talks about how he wants the Purple Heart. He wish he could have. No, you don't give a Purple Heart to somebody that's a draft dodging coward.
Yeah, and then he
like
goes,
Donald
I
Trump.
guess they were telling me you got to be in the military. I guess they're saying I would have had to serve to get the Congressional Medal of Honor or Medal of Valor.
This man has never fought for anything but himself. He is a coward who wakes up in the morning and puts on 8 layers of orange makeup. He is a draft dodging coward. His idea of fighting for America is going to Mar-a-Lago on the taxpayer dime and cheating on the golf course. These are the people that are running the country right now. Pete Hegseth's own mother called him a woman abuser. He's a guy who was a former weekend anchor at Fox News with a tattoo that says 100% white on his skin. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. All right, let's see. Who are we going to next here? Let's go to Michael. Michael is next up on PTL. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
Hi, Michael. Go right ahead.
So my perspective, I am conservative. I support right wing fully. And I would just like to know, what do you think about Donald Trump being accused of a lot of things in the Epstein files without any real preserved evidence?
Okay, so your definition of hold on, let me respond to him. So your idea of what's not preserved evidence is very different from mine, sir. First of all, he's in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. He's done everything to cover it up, and he doesn't want us talking about it. Number one. Now, you just said that. Well, let me ask you a question, Michael. How old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18. Okay, so obviously you don't have any kids. So, Michael, do you have any sisters? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, I do. I have a little sister.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If your little sister was in a pageant and she was taking off her clothes, and would you be okay with a middle-aged man walking in there without her permission, looking at her naked? Would you be okay with that?
I mean, well, absolutely not.
Okay, well, guess what? The guy who you support, bragged about that on the Howard Stern show. So, what would you like to say about that? You okay with that?
Well, for starters, even Bill Clinton.
Whoa! Stop! Hold on,
Here's
Leonard.
a what about.
Hold on, Leonard. The question wasn't about Bill Clinton. I'm happy to talk to you about Bill Clinton after you answer my questions, because it's my show and not yours. The first question I asked you was, if that was your sister, would you be okay with that behavior? What would you call that behavior?
Well, absolutely not.
Okay, then why did you vote for him? Let me ask you another question.
Why do you still support him?
Yeah, well, let me ask you another question. The guy's in the Epstein files thousands of times, but let me ask you a question. Is Donald Trump a liable sexual abuser? Yes or no?
No.
Yes,
okay, so Michael, let me just help you out here. It's okay. I'm glad you called in, Michael. So are you aware that Donald Trump was found liable in a court of law for sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll? Are you not aware of that, Michael?
I'm aware, but
okay. So why would you say no?
He
then?
owes her $83 million.
So why would you say no then?
Due to the fact that there still hasn't been any.
Sir, did you get all the evidence that the jury had in the E. Jean Carroll case? Let me ask you this question again, because I think you answered it, but you kind of didn't. Is Donald Trump a liable sexual abuser according to our courts? Yes or no? Please answer that question honestly.
Yes, according
Okay, I don't care about your opinion. What I care about is if you know facts. Yes, the answer is yes, and I had to ask you that 4 times. Let me ask you another question. Does January 6th happen if Donald Trump doesn't lie about the 2020 election? Yes or no?
Probably.
Wait.
It happens anyway?
Hold on. So you're saying January 6th does happen if Donald Trump does what every other president has done in American history and concede an election? Is that what you just said, sir?
Maybe.
You're not a conservative. You're a MAGA. You're not a
hold on.
conservative Republican.
So Michael, I'm going to ask this question again. Okay. There were like tens of thousands of people that were there on January 6th. Why were they there? Do you know why they were there, Michael?
To fight for their beliefs?
No, they
To
weren't.
what?
No, they weren't there to fight for their beliefs. Michael, the reason why were they there is because they thought the election was stolen.
They were trying to overturn
and they wanted
it. Right.
They wanted to stop Mike Pence from certifying the election. Michael, do you have me so far? Does that make sense?
Yes, I have you.
Okay,
Man,
hold on. Okay, you have me. Okay, good. Let's go with that. So, Michael, let me ask you the question again. We just confirmed, and you agreed with me, that they were there because they didn't like the outcome of the election, because Donald Trump lied about the election, and to this day, hold on. There's no well. There is no evidence of widespread voter fraud.
No. Yes, there is.
Okay, where? What is it? Where is it? No. Where's the evidence of widespread voter fraud? Go ahead, sir.
I'm from Kenosha, Wisconsin.
I don't care where you're from. Where's the evidence of widespread voter fraud?
There was a shack. My mom's best friend. He worked in a company. There were over 200,000.
And where was that proven? Okay, so first of all, so 2 things. Let's go with that. 2 things. Let's go with that. Number 1, was that proven in a court of law? That's my first question. And my second question is, even if that was true, would that have overturned the 2020 election? Please answer those questions.
Absolutely, because
no, absolutely not, sir.
200,000 votes is not.
Hold
gonna turn
on,
over the
sir.
election.
200,000 votes, wherever the hell you live, would not have changed the outcome of the election. You are factually inaccurate. So I'm going to ask you again, even if that was true, which hasn't been proven in a court of law, that wouldn't change the outcome. Sir, how many opportunities did Donald Trump have in a court of law to prove that there was widespread voter fraud? Do you know how many times? You don't know, do you?
Definitely.
You don't know, Michael.
63.
No. 63 times. How many of those court cases did he win?
Obviously none.
Okay, so he had the
Obviously.
Okay, so obviously
Why
you
is
have
he saying
so
obviously?
obviously you have no idea what you're talking about. So, sir, I'll ask you this one more time. There's no evidence of widespread voter fraud. We've proven that Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser, with 25 women that have come forward that have accused him of abuse, including his ex-wife in court documents, who claimed that he raped her. Okay, I'm not even going to say that word on the air. You self-admitted to me that the behavior is terrible, that he went into teenage girls' locker rooms without their permission. I understand you're only 18 years old. I appreciate the fact that you called in. That's probably more brave than a lot of other people that have some of your ridiculous beliefs. But I'm asking you, and we've established now, what has Donald Trump done good for the country, Michael? What has he done good for the country?
Here, I'll list some.
No, one at a time. One at a time.
Go ahead.
One at a time.
Exactly, I'm listing them. So a good one would be crime rates have gone down significantly since he's been put in.
That is,
he had nothing to do with that.
First of all, you have no idea what you're talking about when it comes to crime and when it comes to undocumented immigrants. Let me ask you a question, if that was true, which it's not, because the highest crime rate deductions in my lifetime have been under Joe Biden. And by the way, all you have to do is look that up to figure that out. But let me ask you a question. Do you have a better chance of being the victim of a crime from an American citizen or an undocumented immigrant?
Well, an American citizen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Now that we've established that, let's move on. What's number 2? Because you failed on number 1. Give me something else that Donald Trump has done that you think is great for the country. Go ahead, sir.
He had taken the leader of Venezuela to.
Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Venezuela thing. I'm glad you brought that up, sir. So do you think it's a good precedent for the United States of America to kidnap a president? That's giving other countries the right, if they feel like, because there are other countries that have already put out an indictment for Donald Trump. So do you think it would be okay for those countries to come into the United States of America and kidnap Donald Trump? Because that's the precedent that was set. Are you comfortable with that, sir? If you think that's a good thing, which I imagine you do.
Well, absolutely not. But
absolutely not. Oh, what's the difference?
Okay,
no. Wait. You said absolutely not. No. You answered my question. You said absolutely not. So if it's not okay for other countries to kidnap Donald Trump because he has charges on him from another country, then why is it okay for us to kidnap the president of Venezuela? Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so for starters, he had malnourished over 50% of the population, causing multiple starving deaths. He
What?
had absolutely choked people of their money.
Okay, so by your standard, let's just say that's true, that he's a war criminal. Let's just say, and by the way,
There's lots of countries
I'm
that
not
do that, by
defending
the way.
Maduro. So you're saying it would be okay to kidnap Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. You'd be comfortable with that as well.
By the same standard,
By your standards,
Yeah.
sir. You'd be okay with that?
Well, it'd be more complex than just.
It would be more complex. Are
That's
you
the
okay
point.
with us stealing oil that isn't ours from another country? Are you comfortable with that as well, sir?
Absolutely. It's
Absolutely. Okay, so by your standards, Michael, it's totally okay for us to invade another country and steal property that doesn't belong to us. Sir, that's what we would call a war crime, but you seem to be totally okay with that, right? I would imagine you're probably okay with the Iran war as well, right?
absolutely. So do you believe that
Absolutely.
America is also on?
Are you going to enlist?
land?
I'm sorry, what did you say, sir? I didn't hear.
Sorry.
What did you say, sir?
Do you also believe that America is on stolen land?
All right, so I hear you laughing. You're obviously not a very serious person. You're a right-wing mushroom gobbling buffoon, and you need to get an education.
Can I ask him a question?
He's laughing in the background, so he's, what did you want?
Michael,
to ask?
can I ask you a question based on your original question?
Well,
this is Leonard.
I hung up on him
Oh.
because he was laughing, and it's not.
What I was going to ask him
Yeah.
is, he said there was no evidence, right? And when he's talking about Trump and Epstein, what about the 13 or 14-year-old girl that gave a very long, very detailed deposition? Now that's evidence and that's proof. Now, not releasing it and not having it is a different issue. But to say that there's no evidence is not accurate.
This clown all of a sudden says that he cares about things that are stolen. I wonder what his opinion is on the billions of dollars that Donald Trump has, quote unquote, stolen with his crypto scandal. How about the
he agrees-
$175 billion that they've taken from American
That they
consumers
owe us.
that they will not bring back? But he cares so much about things that are stolen.
He said the Iran war was a good idea. You asked him. And is he going to enlist?
Yeah, of course.
Is he going to go down tonight and say, you know what, I really believe in what Donald Trump is doing, so I'm going to go enlist and I'm going to go to Iran and I'm going to fight? You know what? No.
Yeah, but this guy has
And
about
he
the
was no
same-
conservative Republican. He was a MAGA.
This guy has about the same chance of enlisting as Barron Trump does. Let's go to 702-221-7283. Dem MAGA is next up on
Oh, boy.
PTO. Hello,
Carl.
Carl, this is Democratic MAGA.
What's on your mind
he said his
today?
name was Carl.
What's on your mind today?
No.
What's on your mind? Okay, what's on your mind today?
Well, I called in to save the show. So one
Saved the
thing you've been.
What do you mean you called in? Wait, hold on a second. What do you mean you
He
called in?
self-aggrandizes himself.
What do you mean you called in to save the show? You think I need you putz?
You have no evidence of that.
Arbitron ratings go through the roof on my call.
I don't.
Do the research.
First of all, KSHP doesn't have Arbitron ratings. Second of all, I have about 500,000 listens a day. So I
And
don't need
AM radio has no
trust me-
ratings.
trust me, I don't need your stupid ass to ever call into the show. But now that we've established that, stop with your stupid jokes and tell me why you called in.
Okay, 2 points. One, last week you kept saying, "Oh, the Trump tariffs. Nobody knows where this money's going. Nobody knows." It took me a 10-second Google search to know that goes into the general fund, which pays down the debt, and also goes to social programs.
That wasn't the.
That mystery solved.
The question was who pays the tariffs. That was the question, not where does it go. The question is who pays it.
He had no idea where it went.
We were told
Trump still thinks other countries pay it.
First of all, that hasn't happened. Second of all, he said other countries pay it. And third of all, we were told that we were going to get a check in the mail, a tariff check in the mail, which now they are not doing. So you are wrong on all fronts. Go ahead and make your second
I still want
stupid
my
comment.
tariff
Go right
check.
ahead, sir.
Okay, well, the other point, and this is something you and I agree on, finally, I'm so happy to be on the same page.
Yeah,
with
I
you.
doubt it. I don't agree with anything you say because you're a buffoon, but go ahead.
How could you and me, our number one Democrat party leader who could have been president, Jasmine Crockett, lose to that?
Okay, so
racist
first of all, Talarico is not a racist. That's number one. You're an idiot for making that statement. Number two, her name is Jasmine Crockett, and she has more intelligence and life experience in her pinky.
And she got over 1 million
than you have
votes.
in your entire body. Every single time you call into the show, you take the opportunity to go after brown people because I believe you're a racist and a grand wizard. Talarico is not a racist. You are. James Talarico is an extremely intelligent individual. And let me tell you something else. Jasmine Crockett lost, But they put out a statement today, and it was a very genuine statement, and it was a statement congratulating Talarico and wanting to bring Democrats together,
right.
conceding, which is something your orange turd leader, who you still support, has never done anytime he loses. Jasmine Crockett is a decent human being. She's an intelligent human being, and you are an idiot, Democrat MAGA. You're an idiot. No, I don't know. No, you are a sarcastic. No, you are a pot him down. Pot him down. You are a sarcastic, racist fool. I don't agree with you when it comes to anything. You always take, and by the way, her name is Jasmine Crockett. Why don't you tell us what your real name is, you coward? You're not a Democrat. You are a MAGA. Why don't you tell us on the air your full real name, you stupid coward? Why don't you tell us who
They got
you
my
are?
full name. They have your
What
full
do you
name.
do? What do you do for work, and what is your name? Why don't you tell us right now on the air and prove you're not a coward, you dumbbell? What is your name? Answer the question. What is your name?
I'm the legend himself.
All right, get the
Oh, my
hell off of this show, you freaking coward. Have a nice day.
Was he?
Why don't you learn how to
Was
pronounce?
he drunk?
Why don't you learn how to pronounce a name right, you racist coward? You.
He did say his name was Clarence once.
Yeah. 70222. And by the way, James Talarico is not a racist at all. He's a good human being and a very intelligent, talented man. And you're an idiot.
And can you imagine a black female trying to run in Texas and become a senator? I thought it was very brave what she did. It was very courageous, and she put on a very good, she put on a very good campaign. They like James Talarico better.
702-221-7283. Issachar is next up on PTO. Hello, Issachar.
What's going on, guys? What's going on? How y'all doing? I'm sure that was very enlightening phone calls y'all had to endure those past two. But
We try to give him a chance.
yeah, honestly, I was not even thinking. I was not even wanting to like call in, but I had to. You know why? Because the 18-year-old young
Michael,
man who decided to say, him. Man, it's just like wow. I can't believe that the youth, like the Gen Z. I'm in the Gen Z. I thought I was millennial first, but I'm in the Gen Z. But it's just like whenever you get fed into the propaganda, and I can get it's on both sides, but still, whenever you get fed into the propaganda, you go knee deep into it, and then all you get fed is this. All you get fed is just right wing. And you haven't even gotten a chance to at least understand what the actual fact is. You start to wonder and you start to worry about the state which our country is headed and the future of where it is, because I cannot believe, I just can't believe he really believed the election was stolen, and he really believed that having Maduro captured.
Yeah,
was
was
okay.
it good?
Like,
Issachar,
like what
did you
said,
hear? Did you hear the interview I did with Bonder, the guy who's running for office in Texas, who came on the show last week? He believed the same thing that this 18-year-old believed.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are clowns.
Oh
They
live in a different reality.
they're not serious. These are not serious people. They believe the Earth is flat. It's like they're all Kyrie Irving out there. It's crazy.
Funny enough, Kyrie's on the right side of history. Funny enough, but then again, it's just like they are worried about the wrong thing. They're worried about the culture war, then worried about what's actually happening in the everyday.
What's
life.
a man and what's a man? What they asked us? What's a man and what's a woman? But they can't define what a war is. What do you think is more important? Holy smokes, these people.
They bombed a sovereign nation. Is that not starting a war? Are we not at war every day?
Yeah. It's insane.
Let MAGA be the ones on the front lines to have the war, and they say,
Send Barron.
"Oh, this is actually good for the country. Let them go ahead and fight it. Let them all go ahead and see how good they can go ahead and see if we're gonna come out good."
Let me tell you something,
What's that?
Issachar. If Donald Trump was forced to, which he would never, but to send Barron or Don Jr., his two sons, Uday and Kusei, if they were forced to go overseas, the war would be over tomorrow and the U.S. would pull back. I'm telling you. But a lot of these people that make the decisions, like the George W. Bushes of the world, to go to war and send our troops overseas and put them in harm's way, they don't serve. I'll tell you somebody who did. His name is Beau Biden. And they still attacked Beau Biden.
And George Bush took it to the American people. He was on TV. He explained. He went to Congress, and he got about an 80% rating going into that campaign, about 80% of America was really pissed, and they wanted to attack Iraq, and they wanted to hear an excuse like weapons of mass destruction, and America agreed with it. This is completely different.
Yeah.
This is a president who unilaterally used the military to bomb another country with very little credible reason.
Izika, I really do appreciate your phone call. Thank you so much. By the way, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-7283. Again, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Casey. Casey's next on PTL. Hello, Casey.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good.
You know, my inbox is getting full from a lot of, you know, my MAGA friends, because I do have some MAGA friends and stuff like this. Are like, oh, Casey, what you know, I thought you guys you liberals support the gay community. Iranians kill the LGBT community, and I thought you guys, you know, supported women. You know, the women are forced to live a certain way; they can't drive and all this other stuff. And I say this, I go, our women's rights are being taken away over here.
Yeah,
you know,
you're right.
It's you know,
okay, but that had very little to do with the war, but that's why they're not a socially acceptable country. That's why they're not part of NATO and we're never invited. That's why they're on their own and nobody supports them, because of the way they treat women and gays, and their people have no civil rights at all.
I agree, but you know, does anybody out there really believe that Donald Trump did this because he cares about liberating women in Iran? Like, is there any person with an IQ over 20 that thinks that?
He's killing a couple of birds with one stone. He's keeping Netanyahu, because Netanyahu needs to stay out of jail because he's a war criminal. It's stopping it's taking away trying to take the eye off the ball with the Epstein files. I believe Netanyahu gave him $250 million or something, or I don't know what it was, but it was a large amount of money to go to assist in this war.
Yeah,
and and obviously. Oil, he still has to, give him back to his donors from the election, the big oil. And, the American people will never benefit, just like we didn't benefit from Iraq from the oil. Why we should have $1.19 a gallon of gas if we're going to, liberate Venezuela, liberate Iran, liberate Cuba, but we won't liberate the Ukraine.
Casey, do you believe that one of the primary reasons President Trump attacked Iran is because he wanted to do Israel a favor because he's beholden to Netanyahu?
300%.
300%.
He Trump would make $20 off his own mother if he could make. It's it. He is just a vile.
Yep.
Or if he can save money, or if he can.
But he's basically he's a grifter, and like I said, he'd make $20 off his own money.
Well, he saved money on his taxes by burying his ex-wife on the first hole of his golf course. So
I bet he wants that $130,000 back that he gave Stormy.
Yeah, I bet he does. Thank you for the call, my friend. I appreciate you. Obviously, I agree with you. For the MAGA keyboard warriors out there, you're welcome to call in 702-221-7283.
They would have probably called.
Didn't go very well for the Dem MAGA who called in, and Michael, but you're welcome to give it a shot. 702-221-7283, 702-221-SAVE. Why don't we go to John? John is next up on PTL, calling out of Illinois. What's up, John?
Hey, guys. Hey, what you guys doing?
Hey, what's up, John? What's on your mind?
Talking on the radio.
Well, I think one of the things that really gets me about Trump is having a father that was perfectly willing to die for his country. My dad was in Japan. He was considered a World War II vet.
Mm-hmm.
It just really makes me mad that he calls veterans, people who serve, suckers and losers.
Right.
I think that's a I don't understand why
and you know what?
Why
you know what? There are people out there on the right that say that General Kelly was lying when he said he heard Trump say that. And it's like they'll believe Donald Trump, but they won't believe a 3-star. Was he a 4-star general? I'm trying to General Kelly.
3 or 4, but it took him his whole life to become a general.
But somehow General
dedicated
Kelly's lying and Donald Trump is telling the truth. So John Bolton didn't hear him say that, so it must not be true. I mean, these people.
I believe he 100% said it.
These people are insane.
I hear you. I hear you.
You should be proud of your dad, John. You should be proud that he served, proud that he was willing to do that for our country, because World War II changed everything. It set us on the proper path for a long time, and now 80 years later, it looks like Trump is trying to screw it up.
Oh yeah.
What was your dad's name?
He was named after me. We had different middle names, so I wasn't a junior.
Mm-hmm.
my dad had a brother and a brother-in-law who were both in World War II. I had a brother who actually brought home 2 German helmets, and one of them was a paratrooper helmet.
Wow. Well, I'm going to ask you this. What do you think your dad would say about the times that we are living in today and this war in Iran? What do you think your dad would say?
I think it's kind of a mixed up thing with my dad, because my dad was very conservative. He actually hated Eisenhower, who I didn't think was a bad president. I think the reasons he hated Eisenhower so much was because he hated the way the Bay of Pigs, and the way and Francis Gary Powers getting shot down. My dad hated Eisenhower.
Well, I'll tell you this. Let me say this in closing, my friend. You sounds like to me you come from a family of heroes, and I have a lot of great respect for that, for you and your family, and I appreciate you calling in. And I know I keep saying this every single time. I am humbled by some of our our listenership here. Not only do we have, for the most part, except for maybe an occasional few MAGAs, but that's okay.
Who are afraid to call in.
The average IQ, and I think we have some of the smartest listeners out there, very informed people. And I really appreciate you guys, and I'm humbled and courageous and heroes.
And it's a compliment to you to have a family of listeners that really cares about one another, and they want to be on the right side of history.
It humbles me. It
really
me.
is. It's a good compliment.
People that have served, family members who have served, brave men and women who call into the show every day. And I just want to tell you guys, I appreciate all of you. Let's get back to the phone calls, and let's go to Tiffany. Tiffany is next. I appreciate Leonard as well. I can't leave him out of this thing. He's a listener
I appreciate
and a
Brian,
co-host. Let's go to Tiffany. Tiffany's next on PTL. What's up, Tiffany? Hi, Tiffany. Go right ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
So I've been listening to you for a very long time. You know what I'm saying?
I feel terrible for you. That's horrible. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Tiffany. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Poor Tiffany.
Most with women, usually time is not on my side, but and this is
this
an
time
exception.
it is.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I digress. Go ahead, Tiffany.
So with everything has been going on with the war, and we didn't sign up for this. You know what I'm saying? I got a sister. She was in Iraq war, and she came back all messed up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so sad to see our brothers and sisters come back and don't get the care that they need.
Yeah, they don't take care of him, Tiffany.
And
They
respect.
don't take care of him emotionally, mentally. They don't get him jobs. They don't get him anywhere to live. They just come back and go, okay, you're a military veteran. Good luck.
Yep. And she got hit with a metal strapnoid, got a Purple Heart and everything, but she still struggles to get out of the bed. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad. People arguing, and it's dividing the country, and it shouldn't be like this.
Well, you can tell her on behalf of us that we're proud of what she did. We're very proud of what she did, and we appreciate it. And you can tell her that on behalf of us.
Yeah, it's sad. And my grandpa, he was in the Air Force. That's when black people couldn't, really be in the Air Force at that time.
Well, let me tell you,
know what I'm saying?
that's what Pete, I'm sorry to say this. And again, another family, you come from heroes. Pete Hegseth wants to bring us back to those days. I'm telling you, Pete Hegseth and the Trump administration, it was never about making America great again. It was about making America white again. And I'm sure on the Roland Martin show tomorrow, I will be talking about that. I appreciate you, dear. And thank you so much for calling in. Let's get back to the phone calls at 702-221-7283.
How does the war in Iran benefit us?
And maybe we can get to the YouTube super chat, and Leonard can read a few of those when those come in in a few minutes. Who are we going to next here? Let's go to Andy. Andy is next up on PTO. Hello, Andy.
Hey, Brian and Leonard. What's up? This is
Andy
from New Jersey.
What's up, Andy?
Hey, I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah. You are too?
I was born in Newark, Columbus Hospital.
Oh, okay. I live in Bedminster. Nah, I know, so close to Trump, but I'm going to make this quick. I'm out of breath because I just climbed up a flight of stairs here. I'm at work.
That's okay. Take your time.
All right. Anyway, this whole thing, I feel like we're not taking this. I mean, what are you going to do, right? Light your hair on fire and run around?
No, I don't have any hair, so I can't do that.
Yeah, that's true.
I do,
I know.
but only on top.
Yeah, so the thing is that there's this guy, Professor Jang. He does game theory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of him. He's got a bunch of things on YouTube, and he was on Breaking Points recently. And they're talking about this like this is World War III about to start.
Yeah,
it could be going in that direction.
What?
It could be going in that direction. I mean, when Hitler, first he took over, what was it? I think it was Australia or one of those countries, and then he worked toward Poland, and this is kind of almost the same thing. We took Venezuela, now we're going into Iran. It's kind of the same, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's talking, but he does game theory, and he's saying that we can't beat Iran because they're hidden up in those mountains, just like in Afghanistan, and we're going to keep dropping bombs, and eventually we're going to have to put boots on the ground, and Trump's going to get pissed off because he can't win, and he's going to try to nuke them possibly, and then Russia and China is going to get involved, and then, so I don't want to be, nervous Nelly here, but this doesn't look good. I mean,
well, of course,
Iran bombed 11 countries.
Well, of course,
I don't see how this ends.
Of course, this doesn't look good. As far as seeing how it ends, I also understand your concerns. I don't think this is, first of all, we were told these attacks would be 3 or 4 days. Then we were told 4 or 5 weeks. I think it's going to be at a minimum 6 months, and it might be longer. I hope I'm wrong. Thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate you. Stay safe out there in Jersey. Let's go to Debbie. Debbie is next on PTL. What's up, Debbie?
Hi, Brian. I was wondering if you know about this. I just found out last night that Kash Patel got rid of his C-12, those CIAs that know the intelligence, that know what's going around the world. And also with Kristi Noem being the Homeland Security, how she got rid of her cyber personnel to watch over what's going on with these, cyber attacks to our country here.
So to answer your questions, the answer would be no. However, I can tell you that Kash Patel is more concerned about giving his country singing girlfriend security on taxpayer dollars to make her the next superstar of the UFC singing the national anthem. I can tell you that Kash Patel is more concerned about hanging out in Italy for 5 days and partying with the USA hockey team than he is about really serious investigations into Alex Preddy and Renee Good, because Kash Patel is not a serious human being and he is a grifter.
Yeah.
Didn't he get rid of the Iranian intelligence wing of the FBI also recently?
Yes, he did.
Like a month or two ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that the country doesn't know what's going on, or do they know, or even these MAGA know that how secure our country is here. They're not doing their job.
I don't think anybody in the Trump administration is doing their job for the American people or their constituents. They're doing their job for themselves and for their own interest. And it's a very sad circumstance that we are in. Before we get to some more phone calls, why don't we read a few of the YouTube super chats, if that's okay. And, Leonard always does a great job in doing so. And I appreciate all the support where your questions and comments can be read live on the air. In this case, by the lavishly good looking Leonard Cardinal, who's going to be reading some of those for us. Leonard.
I'm really good at reading 1 or 2 sentences at a time.
You're better than Trump, that's for sure.
Electric Dad says, I'll give as much to the military as Trump or his family did. I would never give my son or myself for that draft dodger.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for your support, my friend. We got
bring up the other ones.
Yeah, we got some others as well that we're going to bringing up for you if you want to read those for us as well. And by the way, the number
there's one.
702-221-7283. Go ahead.
The Ottawa guy, must be from Canada. No one is talking Epstein files, There is your reasoning for war. He spent years talking about how Obama would start a war with Iran to distract. That's exactly what Trump said in 2011. He said that if he would get reelected, and everyone would be happy if he went and attacked Iran. And that's basically what he did. Oops.
Any others up there you want to read?
I think so.
We got another one up there. Go ahead,
got
Leonard.
one.
Yep.
Eileen Posner.
Yeah.
The only gut feeling Trump has is when he eats an undercooked Big Mac. Come on, Big Mac. You have one job.
Yeah, he served Big Macs to the
and that thing on his neck.
USA
What's that
hockey
thing
team.
on his neck? It looks
The
like
rash,
he's bleeding from the inside.
Well, I have some opinions on what that could be.
Oh, there's more?
I have some opinions on what that rash could be. I think Lindsey Graham might have been rubbing up too close to him, but I could be wrong on that. I don't know. Maybe George Santos.
Had him on 10. Funny how the GOP wants to focus on fraud in my state that was dealt with in 2024 when the country is being run by a criminal. Yeah, and they made, I want to say 90 plus arrests, right?
Yeah.
Fraud related, wasn't it more than 90?
Yep. No Somalians have been arrested since Nick Shirley's stupid video. That guy is on the spectrum, by the way. He is very special. You have any others here that we
Lori, one of our regulars, Lori
Yep. Hi, Lori.
Villalobos.
Yep.
Do you think he's running this country like a TV show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Trump doesn't realize that he's blinded on causing chaos to our country and the world. I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
Well,
because
clearly.
the Epstein files, the economy, the tariffs, they were all, he lost the Supreme Court decision.
Who puts on more makeup, by the way, in the morning? Pete Hegseth or Donald Trump? I don't know. I think it's close. I think we got another one there for you too, Leonard.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Lori, another one from Lori. Prayers to you, the 6 soldiers and their families. Prayers to the soldiers who were injured and speedy recovery. The prayers to all of our soldiers. Thank you, Lori. That's very nice.
Yep. And I think we got one more for you, Leonard.
Oh
to
boy, they're
read.
just coming in left and right today.
We love our YouTube super chats. Go ahead, Leonard. We got one more for you.
Oh, this is a long one, so I hope
it's okay. That's the opposite. That's the opposite of what Stormy Daniels said. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hi guys, Canadian here. Love my American cousins. We love you too. We should be talking more about this. It doesn't matter if Democrats win the House and or the Senate. Trump has declared a war without Congress. Yeah, that's exactly right. And he didn't even take the case.
Yeah.
And is that not? I don't mean to belabor the point, but is that not taxation without representation? To take our taxes to the tunes of tens of billions of dollars, millions of dollars, billions of dollars every day, and just go ahead and spend it without the consent of the people who gave you the money in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, that's a valid point. And by the way, we appreciate all your YouTube super chats where your questions and comments can be read. Some people don't want to call into a radio show, which I totally understand.
I've been calling them chickens. I'm trying to provoke them.
It's the people that make statements disagreeing with me and calling me names, but they don't have the ability or guts. I don't even think it's guts to call into a show. Let's go to Larry. Larry's next on PTL. Hi, Larry.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Leonard. Always good to
Hi, Larry.
talk to you guys. It's like I'm part of a family now. I always love Wednesdays with Leonard Dimple. Real good guy. I'm proud of your service in Vegas where I live.
Oh, that's nice of you to say that.
But really, when you look at the past people that ran for the presidency, they knew what they were getting. That's the funny thing with like Rubio and Lindsey Graham and even Cruz. And go down the list. They're all on videotape, totally describing what we got now. You know, con man, the bankruptcies and the casinos, et cetera, et cetera. No moral compass at all.
Yeah, I mean, wow, that was some static there.
I wonder how much money he's taking
that
from
was
the
George
American.
Soros. I think but yeah, I appreciate your sentiment there and what you just said. And obviously, I completely agree with you, Larry. And we do appreciate your comments. I thought we were going to Mohammed next. We lost Mohammed. 702-221-7283. Again, the number to call if you want to join the conversation. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Trey. Trey is next on PTL. Hi, Trey.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Trey. Go right ahead.
Yeah, the MAGA dude that called in first.
Yeah.
The youngster or the other guy?
Nah, the Den MAGA, is that his name?
Yeah, go right ahead. Yep.
Yeah, you said he was racist.
Which guy are you referring to? Are you referring to the 18-year-old who
The
called
one
in?
that mispronounced Jasmine Crockett's name.
Yeah, because we have a history of him calling into
And
the
he
show.
was just being
Hold on.
rude.
Yeah, let me just respond to what he just said. He has a history of calling into this show, of attacking brown people. He does it on a regular basis. That you're probably not informed on that, which is fine, but I'm still answering your question. And he does the same thing with Kamala Harris. He calls her Cackle Kamala or something. And he has a history, as I said, of calling into the show and attacking brown people and being disrespectful with their names. Michelle Obama, he's done the same thing there. So it's a history.
Really?
It's not just, yeah, really. It's not
Really?
Yeah, do I stutter?
Well, I'm black, and it didn't sound. I'm
Okay,
black.
well,
It didn't sound racist. to
Okay,
me.
well, I really don't care. I don't care. I think he's a racist.
Oh.
I think he's a racist. And so let's
And
talk.
don't
You think
so hold
Trump's-
on,
you think
hold on,
Trump's a
hold on.
racist?
Okay, hold on. Let's
Don't you say Trump?
hold on. Okay, so let's talk. By the way, I don't know if you're black or not, sir, but you're questioning now whether. Okay, let me ask you a question. So let's talk about a fact. I don't know who you are or where you're from or what you look like.
I tell you what.
But let me ask you a question, if I may, sir.
From the South.
Sir,
Come on now.
Sir, I need you to pay attention now so everybody could be quiet. Let me ask you a question, if that's okay, sir. So when Donald Trump said years ago that he didn't want black people counting his money in Atlantic City, on the record saying that he wanted Jews counting his money, would you say that's racist and a trope or no?
Oops.
Not really.
Not
Oops.
really. Okay, hold on. Let's rewind. Hold on. No.
Oops.
You don't dictate this phone call. You dumb
Brian, you stumped it with one question.
You don't dictate this phone call, you dumb SOB. It's my show, not yours. Keep
It only
potting
took
him
one
down.
question.
Keep potting him down, please, until I finish. So, sir, thank you, dumb Chuck. So, sir, by your standards, you're saying that when you don't want somebody to count your money in your casino because of the color of their skin, but you want Jews counting the money, that's not racist or an anti-Semitic trope.
It's both.
I just want to be clear on the record, sir. That's not racist. Is that not racist?
Sound like a preface.
Are you going to answer?
What'd he
It's a
say?
preface. Okay, so let's ask you another question. Obviously,
That's not a preface.
obviously you're an idiot, but let me ask you another question. Donald Trump was sued thousands of lawsuits for discrimination. He lost thousands of discrimination suits because it was proven in a court of law that he didn't want black people living in his complexes. Is that racism? Yes or no, as we pod you back up. Go ahead, sir.
No, and don't
Now, okay, so guess what? Sir?
That's not racist.
My girlfriend has nothing to do with this conversation, or ex-girlfriend, or whoever the hell you're talking about. You just said that it's not racist when the courts proved that it was. So you're an idiot. The courts proved that Donald Trump didn't want black people living in his complexes because of the color of their skin. So please explain to me your logic. I need you to pay attention and get the
Now,
MAGA.
how is that
wax.
not racist?
Please explain to my listeners how not wanting tons of people to live in your complexes because of the color of their skin and sued and had to pay out people in discrimination suits. Please explain to me how that's not racism. Go ahead, sir. I'd love to hear your thinking. Go
This is
ahead.
going to be great.
It's not.
Okay, so tell me why. The question, I already got your answer. Now tell me why that's not racist. Taking someone's skin color. Okay, so first of all, there's no swearing on this show. I know you're not smart enough to have a conversation. I'm really trying to be patient with you, sir. And by the way, I don't think you're black. Okay, I think you're lying. I don't think you're black. But let's just assume you are for a moment. Let me just try this one more time.
He can be black if he want to be.
Without calling me the B word. Okay, because I'll be honest, I think you're actually probably having relations with your cousin in your mobile home, but that's okay, sir. Let's back up a step or two here. Let's try this again. You said it's not racist for a guy that had to pay out thousands of discrimination suits. Discrimination, by the way, part of that is racism. I don't think you're aware of that because you're not.
It was
right.
mostly minority racism.
When you don't want brown people in your complexes, other than the only reason because of the color of their skin, please explain how, in your opinion, that's not racism. Go ahead, sir. I'll give you another chance, the fourth time. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Still waiting, sir.
Got a black ex-girlfriend.
The question, pot him down again. The question wasn't about Trump's ex-girlfriend. That wasn't the question. He could have 20 ex-girlfriends that are black. That wasn't the question. I'm going to ask you again for the fifth time. You said thousands of discrimination lawsuits that Trump had to pay out, proven in a court of law, because he didn't want black people living in his buildings. You said it's not racism. The question has nothing to do with my ex-girlfriend or Trump's ex-girlfriends. Why is that not racism? I'm now asking you for a fifth time. Go ahead, sir.
Let's go to the Central Park. Let's go to the Central Park.
No, let's not go to the Central Park 5. We
He's
can
just playing
talk about
games.
that
He's playing
afterwards.
games. He's
We
not
can
serious.
talk about the Central Park 5 after, but you still have to answer my question. By the way, Donald Trump took a page out of the New York Times claiming that the 5 Central Park 5 members, who all happen to be minorities, deserve the electric chair. And then when it was proven through DNA that they were innocent, he never retracted, he never apologized. So there's nothing else really to talk about there. But
Why am I hearing the
now
song
I'm gonna ask
Deliverance
you-
in the back of my
now
head?
I'm going to ask him now.
I'm hearing Deliverance in the back of my head for some reason.
I'm going to ask him now for a sixth time. You said it's not racist when Donald Trump had to pay out thousands of discrimination lawsuits, millions of dollars, and it was proven in a court of law he didn't want them there because they were black. It was proven. So I'm asking you now for a sixth time. Usually by the sixth time, they usually answer, but this is a very
And they
special
fired black dealers.
Yeah. So
too.
please explain to me how that's not racism, sir. This is now the sixth time I'm asking you. Go ahead, sir. What's the matter, sir?
Didn't I already answer that? Didn't I already answer
Then
that?
what?
Okay, sir,
Sybil?
why don't you admit you are white?
Yes, sir.
Why don't you admit you're in Kid Rock's family? Why don't you admit you're white? Why don't you admit you're a white supremacist? Yeah, Tucker. I love that Tucker Carlson white supremacist laugh of yours. You're not black. You're white. And you probably hate minorities. Why don't you admit you're a racist yourself? Why don't you admit we got you? Why don't you admit you're a grand wizard, you white supremacist piece of human garbage? Why don't you admit to everybody that you lied and you're white, you dumbass? Why don't you admit that you're white? You Klansman, that's what you are. You're Trump's base. You're a white supremacist Klansman. Yeah, you're laughing because we got you. Have a nice day, you scumbag.
What would motivate someone to do that, Brian? What would motivate a man to call a show and act like a jackass and make a clown show out of himself and thinks it's cool? That's such a MAGA. That's such an unreality kind of person. And I'll tell you what.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what.
We got him, and he's not black. He was a white supremacist trying to be black, I guess, which he's not. And he couldn't answer my question that I patiently asked him 5 or 6 times because he's an ignoramus and he's stupid. So
do you think he's the kind of guy that meets a girl and says, "Girl, you look better in a new set of snow tires"?
He might. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. Let's go to Herb. Herb is next on PTL. Hello, Herb.
The Herb?
Hi, Herb. What's on your mind
Brian,
today?
Yeah, this is the Herb.
Man, I never get to talk to Herb.
Oh, I've talked to you before, Leonard. But listen, yesterday, Hakeem Jeffries was asked a question, and I wanted to know what you guys have the opinion of it. He was asked about Obama went into Libya without the approval of Congress, and
that's not accurate.
What's the difference?
Go ahead, finish your question.
Because they asked Nancy Pelosi about it at the time, and she said he didn't need the approval of Congress. And he was they were in Libya, from what I understand, for 7 months.
And why did he do that?
So
Why did he do that? Well, Herb,
between-
hold on. I want to ask you questions for some background here. Why did he do that? Do you know why he did that?
What
was the reasoning
Why
at the
he
White
went
House?
to Libya?
What was the reasoning of the White House and to the American people? What was their reasoning behind that?
I don't remember.
You don't
Because
know.
he wanted to prevent the mass destruction in Benghazi of their people. That's why.
Okay.
And it was a NATO-led coalition. It was not Obama, and he did not do
How
it
many
unilaterally.
soldiers-
He
how
did
many-
not say, "I'm going to Libya." That's not what happened. What he's saying is not accurate.
I know it's not accurate, but I just want to see. He doesn't know why Obama did it. Let me ask you another question. How many soldiers died?
That's why I was at. That's why I
Sure.
was calling in.
Yeah, I know. I understand. We're
I
giving.
just wanted your
How
opinion.
many?
I'm not calling
How many
in to get an
soldiers?
argument.
How many soldiers?
Okay.
How many soldiers did we lose?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't
How
know.
many?
Okay. How many have we lost so far in Iran?
So far as I understand, it's a 6.
I don't believe that.
Do you agree with Trump and his reasoning? Why did we attack Iran? What's the reasoning behind it?
Well, as long as I can remember, they've always been one of the main sponsors of terrorism.
Okay, so we went in there.
And they were trying to build. Listen, Brian,
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you overtalk me.
Oh,
and
you're
pod me down
you're
on
not.
that
I can pod you down anytime I want because it's my show and not yours. Why did we go into Iran? I'm asking you a question because they harbor terrorists.
You
Why?
wonder why conservatives don't
Why?
call in.
I have
The reason-
plenty of conservatives that call in, and I actually go on conservative talk shows, and we don't need Herb. So Herb, answer my question. The only thing you just said is because they harbor terrorists. So does that mean we should justifiably go to war in North Korea and Russia as well? Going by your own standards, should we? And where's the evidence that they're trying? I thought we obliterated their nuclear capabilities. Isn't that what Donald Trump said 8 months ago,
Yes,
Herb?
yes, and
Herb, no. I'm asking you a question. Please answer mine first, and
Yeah,
then I'll
which one
answer
is
yours.
it?
Herb, did we obliterate their nuclear capabilities? Because that's what Donald Trump said 8 months ago, along with Pete Hegseth. Did we obliterate them? Yes or no?
I'm sure at that particular location that they bombed.
No. He didn't say we obliterated at that location. They said we obliterated, quote, their nuclear capabilities.
Obliterated means nothing left.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So
gone.
Did they have nothing left to everything in 8 months, Herb? Does that sound logical to you? I'm asking you a question.
I don't know.
You don't know. Yeah, you don't know a lot
Well,
of
then
things.
why are you asking
Yeah.
about it if you don't
Yeah,
know?
if you don't know, then don't call into the show and talk about things that you have no freaking idea what you're talking about.
Ask
You
us
don't-
about something you know.
You don't know why Obama bombed Libya. You don't know the casualties. You know nothing about that, but you still ask about that. You want to discuss that. You know nothing about this war in Iran, and your only excuse as to why we went in there is because, well, they harbor terrorists. By that same logic, we could go after we could start a war with Russia tomorrow. We could start a war with North Korea tomorrow. There's no evidence that they have weapons of mass destruction or nuclear weapons. We're listening to Israel. And then we have idiots like you who call into the show who are ill-informed, and you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, Herb. And that's why I pod you down, because you're an imbecile. The amount of times I pod you down every single time you call in, I think your IQ is actually lower than that.
Can I ask you a question about Libya, Herb? Since you brought it up, you brought it up.
Let me ask you something.
No, he won't listen to you. Herb, don't even try with him.
Well, let me ask the question first, and then you can go.
Let me ask a question.
So in Libya, are you aware that Obama?
He hung up the phone.
Oh.
I told you that.
Well, what I was going to say is Obama, unlike Trump, afterwards said that it created a huge vacuum and that he should have had better planning. And this is relevant to Iran because Obama said, I should have thought better, about Gaddafi and what was going to happen next. And it was one of the mistakes he made. Trump would never do that. He would never admit it was a mistake.
So the reason why Herb hung up the phone, there's a couple reasons. Number one, he called in to ask us questions about Libya when he had absolutely no idea the motive of why Obama.
He didn't know anything about it.
He didn't know about casualties, nothing. And he's trying to make the case that it's a correlation to Iran. Number two, I asked him the reasoning behind why he thinks we went to war with Iran. And he says, well, they harbor terrorists. By that logic, we could go to war with multiple countries, including Russia and North Korea. But notice how he's so ignorant and so ill-informed. He calls into this show and he listens.
So what about Libya?
He listens to his Fox News and Jesse Waters nonsense.
What Obama and Libya? And it's not even close. NATO was involved. It's not even close to the same thing.
Herb, you are an embarrassment to the country and you are an ignoramus. Let's wrap up the show today with
is it over already?
The MAGA destroyer, Darlene. Hi, Darlene. What's up?
Hi, guys.
Hi, Darlene.
I'm going to ask your opinions real quick. I was watching a video earlier of Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes. Are y'all ready for this?
Yeah.
Nick Fuentes on that show, he wants all of his people to vote for Democrats. Saw it with my own eyes. That's what he said. So what do y'all got to think about that?
Well, Nick Fuentes is, he's half in, half out at all times. He'll go totally in one direction. He's a conspiracy theorist. He doesn't believe in history. He doesn't know his history. And he's just saying that for clicks. And Alex Jones, the same thing. They're just saying that for clicks. I don't think he means that at all. And by the way, he could go against himself tomorrow and completely change his opinion. Nick Fuentes is like a leaf in the wind. And I think he's a grifter.
By the way, I'm going to be debating Dyer, a guy who is like best friends with Alex Jones. I'm going to be doing like a long form debate.
Oh, that should be fun
on another platform. We do have the YouTube super chat. Thank you, Darlene. It's always good to hear from you, and I appreciate your call, my dear. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Go back to the YouTube super chat where
is there another one?
Mr. Leonard Cardinal will be speaking to it. Go ahead.
Azza 351C says Leonard deserves his own show. 2. No shade, Brian. I don't think Brian's worried about who has a show anywhere.
Welcome. Leonard would do a great job. I'm sure
I have no technical expertise.
I'm sure he's welcome to do that. We do have a few great guests on the show tomorrow. She's Joanna Carducci. She's known as JoJo from Jers. She just destroyed Ben Ferguson on the Pierce Morgan show yesterday. And JoJo's a friend of mine, and she's coming on the show tomorrow. I think she's great. My friend Kyla, who you've seen debate Tim Pool and debated Andrew Wilson, I'm not exaggerating, for 8 hours on the Whatever podcast. So Kyla's going to be joining us on the show tomorrow as
That should be interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, guys, you see the website below. It's pushingthelimits.live. That's where you can make donations and support independent media. We love all of you in the YouTube super chat and your support. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys. So many wonderful calls today too. There were a few interesting ones, but that's okay. It makes the show better that way. So MAGA Herb, please feel free to.
I wish they were more prepared, Brian. I really do.
No, they're not. But MAGA Herb, please continue to call back and embarrass yourself. The listeners seem to.
Maybe I can put out a book. Political Science 101, American History 101, World History 101, and you don't get to go to the 200 class until you're able to answer some of the questions from the 100 class.
Sir, I don't disagree. I actually like that. I think that would make sense. Leonard, I appreciate you being here. Please check out my website, Pushing the Limits.
Thanks for having me.
$5, $10, $20 a month, whatever you can afford, make a donation. You're helping independent media and the PTL family. Love you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. Leonard, it is always a pleasure having you.
Have a good day. Thank you. Numchuck, thank you.
I'm still waiting for your wife's lemons. and your lemon tree. You're
waiting for my wife's lemons.
Well, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it in that way. It sounded
You're
really
blushing.
bad.
We got Brian to blush. Yes.
Well, I'm very white, so anytime I can get a little color, that's
we do have some
good.
lemons left on the tree.
Thank you.
Very few, but we do have some left.
I will appreciate that. I make some lemonade. All right.
That was
Thanks,
fun.
everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super hero, that is, because why be